Section 10 of The Living Animals of the World, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Avai in October 2020. The Living Animals of the World, Volume 2, Book 2, Chapter 9. Birds of Prey and Owls, by W. P. Pycraft. Birds of Prey. At one time the boundaries of this group were much larger than now, for within them were included at least one form which has since proved to belong to the crane tribe. We allude to the Seriema, page 428, and also to the owls. This classification was based on the very remarkable superficial resemblance to the typical birds of prey which those forms bear. Modern ornithologists regard as birds of prey only the forms known as the New World vultures, the secretary bird, and the falcons, eagles, vultures, buzzards, and the numerous smaller forms commonly classed as hawks. The New World vultures. These may be distinguished from their distant relatives of the Old World by the fact that the nostrils are not divided from one another by a partition, and by their much weaker feet. The head and neck in all, as in the true vultures, is more or less bare, and, furthermore, is often very brilliantly colored, in which last particular these birds differ from the typical vultures. One of the most important members of the group is the condor, one of the largest of flying birds, and when on the wing the most majestic. When the condors, says Darwin, are wheeling in a flock round and round any spot, their flight is beautiful. Except when rising off the ground, I do not recollect ever having seen one of these birds flap its wings. Near Lima, I watched several for nearly half an hour without once taking off my eyes. They moved in large curves, sweeping in circles, descending and ascending without giving a single flap. One which he shot measured, from tip to tip of the fully expanded wings, 8½ feet. The condor, like its smaller relatives, hunts by sight, and not, as was at one time believed, by smell, feeding on the dead bodies of guanacos, which have died a natural death or been killed by pumas, and upon